Welcome, I bid you welcome. Take a look inside my media museum. And episode 23 of the A to Z 45 RPM vinyl records collection here at my media museum. My name is Will, and I'm thrilled to have you here today with us. We're looking at the Hughes Corporation's Rock the Boat. Now, this is, I believe, the reissued version. Gives you a recording date of July 12th, 1973. We got old Nipper up there. He's almost a little covered up by the price tag, but more covering up the phonograph than anything. But the B-side of this is all going down together. Now, I do have another copy here, which I believe is an earlier copy. But as you can see, Yvonne saw fit to magic marker us up there, and she clearly had a stacker. And we've got a lot of stacker wear from the disc dropping in, on that spinning turntable and wearing off just a little bit of label more and more every time. A B-side is still the same B-side. It's still all going down together. So it's just two different editions of the same song by the same band. All right, so next up, we're going on to Huey Lewis, and I've got a few Hueys here for us to look at. This one is definitely one of my favorite Huey Lewis songs, I Want a New Drug. And me and some friends of mine rewrote the lyrics on this at a party one time, and I'd forgotten all about them, and I was going through some of my albums, and lo and behold, right there in the sports sleeve, because I do have this full album on vinyl, was our new lyrics to I Want a New Drug. And I can't sing them for you because they're not appropriate. But anyway, it's just a little side story. The B-side there is Finally Found a Home, Back Where I Belong. Now, just to show you, I've got a second copy. It's not quite as bright or as clear. That's why I showed you the other one. But this one doesn't have the writing on it that the one I originally showed you. I picked that one to show you because of that. And I don't really see any differences in them, font or otherwise. So that pretty much covers that one for us. And next up, the heart of rock and roll. Heart of rock and roll is still beating. Do 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 do. And a lot of people don't realize that he plays Purple Haze at the end of this song. So next time you hear this song, pay real close attention at the very end. The lead guitarist starts playing the riff for Purple Haze. And I just think that's awesome. Being a big Jimmy fan, it's just one of those things that caught my attention. The very first time I heard the song, I was like, oh, hey. Very cool way to give a nod to Hendrix there. And the B-side of this is Working for a Living Live. Originally recorded for In Concert by Westward One. So if you heard a live radio show from them, you might have heard this. But as far as I am aware, as of the last time I looked it up anyways, the only place to get this live copy other than off of a bootleg is from this 45 RPM. So very, very nice 45 to have. That's, again, the heart of rock and roll that has that special B-side for you. And next up, we've got That's the Power of Love. Do. Yeah, really good song again. That sports album is just bad as bad can be. I mean, I'm telling you, it's all good. Actually, I don't care for the very last song too much, but it did grow on me. You Crack Me Up, I think it's an old Hank Williams Jr. song, or not Hank Williams Jr., I think it was a Hank Williams song. But yeah, I didn't care for it, but over the years it grew on me. And besides, I thought it was perfect placement. They put the last song on the album. You didn't have to listen to it if you didn't want to. You could stop it at that point. But Bad is Bad was another real good song. This is a double A side, in my opinion. It may be a B side for Power of Love, but that is a double A as far as I am concerned. And now we've got something a little interesting here. Can you tell me what's different from this copy of The Power of Love from the one I just showed you? The answer is barcode. No barcode, barcode. It's interesting that this is 1985. This is probably the year that Crystallis switched over from no barcodes to barcodes. We got a first run without it and a second run with, and they put the barcode on both sides. So here you've got the original with no barcode and the reissue with the barcode. And that's the only difference I see looking at the labels, rather closely. Sure, there's a little bit of difference in coloring, but that is so normal. And they switched the information from this side to that side so that they squeeze that barcode in there. But for the most part, it's the same song, same recordings, everything. So now here we've got us a nice picture sleeve of Huey Lewis in the News. Great band shot there. And Walking on a Thin Line, which is a song that he wrote for the Vietnam vets who, at this point in time, early 80s, they were starting to get a little recognition. Sylvester Stallone with Ram First Blood, was one instance where I definitely took notice of. But there was an effort by some individuals during the early 80s to acknowledge the Vietnam vets and the raw deal that they got. My father was a Vietnam vet, and I remember going down to the bus station to pick him up when he came back after his last tour. He did 2 tours. And yeah, there were hippies down there spitting on him, and I couldn't blame my dad for not thinking too kindly of the hippie culture or guys with long hair. So when I wanted to grow up later and grow long hair, it's probably a good thing that he had already flew the coop, and it would have been definitely some fighting and arguing over that, because I had a flat top the whole time Dad was around. I had a flat top buzz head. But Walking on a Thin Line was definitely a song that Huey Lewis wrote for the Vietnam veterans. The B-side of that being The Only One, which isn't a song of his that I'm nearly as familiar with. Not sure what album that's from. It's definitely not on Sports, which Walking on a Thin Line, I believe, was. All right, so next up, we've got one of those really great one-hit wonders with The Eyes of March doing Vehicle. And if you don't recognize that one, I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. Good God in heaven, I think I love you. Yeah, great song. Really great one-hit wonders there. And the B-side of this is being a song called Lead Me Home Gently. All right. Next up, we got us a ugly picture sleeve of Iggy, making an ugly face there. And it's Iggy Pop and Real Wild Child. I'm the wild one. Ooh yeah, I'm the wild one. So you got a nice little picture of Iggy there on the back. And then some information here about how it was produced and mixed by David Bowie and David Richards. So David Bowie helping Iggy Pop put out a hit song. And this was a hit song. I'm a real wild child, I'm the wild one. Yeah. And the B-side being a song called Little Miss Emperor, which, no, I don't recognize that one. It's clearly marked as the B-side, but knowing Wild Child so well and that being a picture sleeve, it's kind of obvious what was the A and B sides on that one. So, next up, we've got the old Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, which I've heard pronounced In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida many times. I think I used to say it was In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida for a long time, but it's Gadda, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. And what it actually is In the Garden of Eden. So, sing the song with those lyrics, it makes a heck of a lot more sense. In the Garden of Eden, baby, is where I belong. Dun, 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 dun. Iron Butterfly theme by Iron Butterfly. And it is a instrumental. They've got it marked as an instrumental. It's interesting to me that this is a cutout. There's actually a hole burned through it, which means that it did not sell. It was reported back to the distributor as unsold, destroyed, and disposed of. I think a lot of those ended up going home with store employees rather than ended up in the dumpster. Or who knows, maybe somebody dumpster dived and recovered this one for us. But you know it. This is a 2-minute and 52-second long version, so it is the 45 edit, which is tremendously shorter, of course, than the album version. But it's still a fun listen. It's a great disc to have. And yeah, that story about them changing the lyrics is even covered on the Wikipedia page, I do believe, or it used to be. And they were down at the bar drinking during a break in recording sessions and came up with the In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida to replace in the Garden of Eden line. Anyways, moving on, we've got Jackson Browne, Running on Empty, Running Blind. Yeah. And the B-side being Nothing But Time, which is what I've got today. Nothing but time, because I'm on vacation. So I'll try and get some filming done for the channel. I've been a little more sporadic as of late. But here's a really great Jackson Browne song. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what is wrong. It's a little marked up, but it's got the older Asylum Records label there. And the B-side of that, even though it's pretty rough, is a song called Looking Into You. The vinyl's not the most perfect either. It's a little rough too. But the Doctor My Eyes does play pretty good and sounds decent. So that's the main song that we wanted there. So we're still doing all right in my book. Now we've got James Brown and a nod to Carl Weathers, who we just recently lost. But James Brown doing Living in America for Rocky IV. And on the B-side of that picture sleeve, we've got a picture of the motion picture soundtrack cover with old Sylvester Stallone there as Rocky. But I'm really happy they put Carl there on the front. It's blurry anyway, so I'm not going to get you a real good shot of that because he's in the background. But there you have it, and here's the label. And we've got some of that, what I believe to be glue issue, because it's really not worn, it's really not buffed up. If you get it in the light just right, you see it just fine. Living in America, James Brown. And it's not stacker wear, it's not even consistent, so I'm not sure. But Farewell being the B-side by Vince Diacola. So this is something else off of the movie soundtrack and not off of the James Brown album. All right, come on back for part 24. We'd love to see you then.